are arresting in themselves, but also because they are unmentioned in existing biographies and barely discussed, at least in print, by the handful of specialist scholars currently at work in the field. The scholarly inhibitions are understandable. Peculiar, intense problems make the sources for Vespucci's life hard to handle with confidence. There is plenty of evidence. Indeed, we know more about Vespucci than any other explorer of his time except Columbus. But the comparison with Columbus is telling. Columbus poured out his soul almost every time he set pen to paper. Vespucci wrote little that survives, and although much of it is, in a broad sense, autobiographical, he never indulged in the sort of self-revelatory effusions characteristic of Columbus's work. Scholarship, moreover, has foundered on the problem of authenticity. Critics have impugned or endorsed all the letters ascribed to Vespucci or published in his lifetime under his name. Debate rages inconclusively. By general assent, the manuscript letters are now acceptable as genuine. One of the greatest Vespucci scholars, Alberto Magnahi, demonstrated that in the 1920s, and subsequent work has confirmed his conclusions on that point. The question, however, of whether either or both of the two published letters should be in the corpus has remained unresolved. Some investigators reject both documents in their entirety, endorsing the mid-19th century opinion of the Visconde de Santarem that they bear upon their very face every sign of forgery. Others, even more injudiciously, accept them without cavil. Still others, including all the leading scholars at work on the subject today, suppose that the texts are a mixture of real and feigned writings of Vespucci's, but differ about where the balance lies. The doubts are paralyzing, for vital decisions depend on the letters in question. Whether Vespucci was veracious, or, admitting that he was an inveterate liar, the extent of his mendacity. Whether his claims to important discoveries are valid, whether he deserves to have a hemisphere named after him. I believe we can now set the inhibitions aside. The undisputed documents give us a trustworthy set of Vespucci's fingerprints as a writer, his favorite images, his pet themes, his habits of thought, his mental tics. From the disputed materials we can wrest a reliable match and see how much came from Vespucci's pen and how much from those of the editors responsible for the publications that bore his name. With the help of other sources, in particular of surviving letters to Vespucci, which reveal the world in which he moved and the values that moved it, it is possible to reconstruct the phases of his life with reasonable certainty and even to penetrate his mind, to see the world as he saw it, to elicit his motives and ambitions, and to expose the reasons, or some of them, for his periodic makeovers. His life can be mapped with the hazy irregularity, vagueness, and distortions of scale of a typical map of the time. There are maddening gaps. I have tried not to fill them speculatively, like some medieval cartographer scattering empty spaces with hippogriffs. Although I intend this book as a life story and as an exploration of a mind, huge historical frameworks surrounded Vespucci. I try to sketch these into the background, because nothing he did makes complete sense except in their context. So the book follows him through the various milieus in which he belonged or to which he adapted. The Florence of Lorenzo de' Medici, the Seville of Ferdinand and Isabella, the ocean of Columbus, the new continent scoured by pillagers in Columbus's wake, the globe in which Vespucci's reputation resonated, grew, and ebbed. Some readers may find this tedious and yearn for the intimacies of a conventional biography of a subject more vividly visible in close-up. But the background painting is necessary and, I think, revealing. For although Vespucci made no significant contribution to any art or science, as we shall see, his cosmography was amateurish, his navigation overrated,